building blocks that make up the three doshas. The 5 elements are ether, which is space, air, fire, water, and earth. So these 5 elements essentially are the building blocks of the whole cosmos, of the whole universe. And these also manifest in nature around us and within our own system. So when we have a little more clear understanding about these elements, how do they manifest? What is in excess? What is deficient in our body, mind, emotions? It's much easier to address. So if we have an imbalance of air, there's often more anxiety, feeling more sort of in the clouds or less focused, more scattered. If we have an imbalance of fire, there might be a lot of heat in the body or a lot of sort of fiery emotions. So these are some of the things that we look at as the building blocks in Ayurveda. So these 5 elements make up the 3 doshas. Okay, so in Ayurveda, there's a lot of emphasis on the 3 doshas. So if there's anything that you want to take home today, is understanding a little bit more about the 3 doshas. Okay, the Vata dosha is made up of ether and air. So these body types, so these people who are dominant in Vata dosha, tend to be more on the thin side. They often tend to be very energetic, but their energy goes up and down. They may change their minds quickly. They may be very motivated, but get tired easily. They may be more prone to cold hands, cold feet, dryness, anxiety, nervous system disorders. Okay. The Pitta body types, okay, so these are more of the sort of in-between body shapes, so they tend to be more muscular. They often tend to be very active. They're good athletes. They're very driven. Okay, so when someone is dominant in Pitta, they're very goal-oriented. They like to get things done. They're very organized. They're on top of it. They like to speak up. They have good communication skills. But when they're out of balance, they may be more prone to anger, irritability, sort of being hot-tempered, and having issues related to fire in the body, which might be inflammation, redness in the skin or the joints, and things like that. Kapha body types. So these are the body types that tend to be more on the heavier side, so naturally tend to gain weight more easily. They may be more prone to weight gain, fatigue, sort of lethargy. But when they're imbalanced, they're often very caring, they're very nurturing, and they're very emotionally connected people. So we're going to talk a lot about Kapha dosha today, because this is one of the aspects that connects a lot with winter season and with mood as well. But essentially, these are the 3 doshas. So when we're speaking more about mood, okay, so more the mental aspect of how doshas manifest. Vata body types tend to have more anxiety, more instability, and oversensitivity. So their nervous system is very sensitive, okay? Kapha body types tend to be more sort of heavy. They're more prone to depression, to lethargy, sort of slow and sluggish, just like there's a cloud over their minds. Pittas tend to be more, like I said, more sort of driven. So they are more prone to things like anger, overthinking, and insomnia. Okay, so this is just a very brief nutshell of some of the doshas and how they manifest in the body and mind. So let's take an example here. So if someone has excess in Kapha dosha, so physically, they may be more prone to gaining weight. They may also be more prone to getting congestion. So having lung issues, sinus issues, mucus. They may also be prone to fatigue. So just feeling that sluggishness, inertia, hard to get out of bed, hard to get moving. And as we know, we all have these qualities. So in wintertime, many times you'll be able to relate to that feeling of just hard to get up, hard to get motivated, hard to get moving, and that's the kapha dosha at work. But when this is out of balance, this can really take on someone's life in terms of day-to-day, where they're gaining a lot of weight. They're having trouble even getting up to go to work or to start things or to get things going. Okay, and then we know that is starting to become a problem. On the mental emotional front, kapha dosha tends to manifest as depression. So there's sort of a sinking feeling, a sadness, sort of lack of motivation, lack of energy, and lack of concentration. So again, sort of when we talk about brain fog, lack of clarity, this is often related to kapha. Now keep in mind, children, as long as they're healthy and living in a good environment, generally are very balanced. Okay, so they may have a dominance in a kapha or pitta or vata dosha, which will be more of the quality, but generally they're healthy and generally they're balanced. As we go through life, as we age, as we go through maybe moves, we move to different countries, we change jobs, we go through stress, we go through many of the life changes, then these imbalances can slowly accumulate as we age. As these imbalances increase, this can slowly lead to disease. So a lot of times in Western medicine, we look at blood work, we will see imbalances in cholesterol and blood levels, things like that. From an Ayurvedic perspective, we can try to catch those things before they even manifest in labs or before they even manifest as symptoms, because these are slowly accumulating in the body and might show up in some of your movements, in the tongue, in the pulse, and some of the other things that we can sometimes check. Which is why it's really important to work with day-to-day health and wellness, and instead of waiting until there's a problem to address. So next, let's move on from the 3 doshas and move on to the 3 gunas. Some of you have maybe heard of this: sattva, rajas, and tamas. So these are the 3 qualities that give rise to all the phenomena in nature and influence the mind and consciousness. So the doshas tend to be more on a little bit more of the physical aspect. The 3 gunas tend to be more of the subtle qualities. So these are the subtle qualities of how we think, which influence our activities and actions. So sattva, so you can see the yellow bubble here, is essentially manifests as clarity, balance, knowledge, insight, wisdom. So essentially, for most people, we're really looking at that balance, that sattvic state, where we are energized, alert, but relaxed with clear thinking. You know when you feel good, you've had a good sleep, you're happy with what you're doing. Often we're in a very sattvic state. Rajas tends to be more of a quality of activity, of movement, of passion. It's sort of forward moving, getting things done. Can also manifest as restlessness or aggression. In TCM, or traditional Chinese medicine, this might be termed more as the yang energy. Okay, so in the universe, we need all of these 3 qualities, but when something is out of balance, then this can lead to other issues. So we need that movement, things need to happen. We need that rajasic quality sometimes. But essentially, if there's too much of it, we might notice things like aggression or people who are very restless and causing issues. Now, tamas, this is the 3rd guna, often manifests as inertia, dullness, slowness, sleep. It's more of the yin energy, quiet, calm, sort of quiet state of the universe. So pregnancy is also considered a time of tamas. So it's not necessarily considered a bad thing. This is a quality that needs to exist in nature, but we don't want excess of it. Okay, if there's too much tamas in your day-to-day and in your mind, this leads to inability to make things happen, to get things going, to have that clarity of doing what you really want to do. So essentially, we're always looking towards a sattvic state of mind which then leads to balanced mental, emotional happiness and joy. And a sattvic state can often be achieved through a healthy diet, eating a lot of fresh food rich in prana or life energy, being around people that are also sattvic, so good company, and also yoga and meditation are very good for cultivating sattva. So when we are looking at mood, depression, and some of these issues that we're facing, we are often looking at an increase in tamas. It's more of a tamasic state. So some of the things that increase tamas to be aware of are food. Food has a big impact. If people are practicing yoga and meditation, that's why usually there's a lot of guidelines on certain foods to eat and certain foods to avoid, so that you are working towards sattva and reducing tamas and rajas. So foods like fried foods, especially leftovers, anything fermented, sitting in the fridge for a long time, or even frozen foods do increase tamas. Oversleeping. You know that feeling when you are feeling lazy and you sleep in, you've gotten enough sleep and you've gotten more than enough sleep, but the rest of the day you feel a little sluggish, dull, and tired. So this is that tamas state. Overeating, right? Feeling that overfull feeling also adds to tamas. Lack of exercise. If you're sitting on the couch, not doing much movement, this leads to tamas. Isolation and negative thinking. So again, a lot of times during pandemic, a lot of factors that we're hearing or news, media, things around us, this can also lead to tamas. Okay, so essentially we're working to reduce tamas. The last main concept in Ayurveda that I want to talk about is Agni versus Ama. So in a nutshell, Agni means fire, and it relates to your metabolic fire. So this can be your digestion, this can be the metabolism in your cells, uptake of nutrients. This can relate to your thinking as well, that sort of clarity of thought. Agni is a vital force in the body, which is always crucial for assessment. When we're doing Ayurvedic assessment, we're always looking at your state of Agni. If someone has good Agni, they're usually very happy, they have strong digestion, they are able to digest experiences. So something happens through the day, someone said something negative at work, they can move on, right? They don't let it dwell with them. They're also very good with clear thinking and decision making. So if Agni is good, digestion is good, thinking is good, and you're generally very happy. If Agni is low, this can usually relate to a buildup of Ama. And Ama means toxins. We're all aware of toxins. In our body, it can manifest in so many different ways. It can manifest as a coating on your tongue, a white or a gray or a yellow coating on your tongue. It can manifest as body odor, as weight gain, as foggy thinking. Many ways that Ama manifests. So we're always looking at clearing out Ama and improving Agni and keeping that balance. When both are working well, when Agni is working well and Ama is low, and we've got balanced doshas, and we've got sattvic state, then this leads ultimately to good balanced health and good mood. When some of these things are off, this will usually affect your physical state, but also your mental, emotional, and spiritual state as well.